Have you ever met the human equivalent of a mosquito? Last weekend was our monthly family barbecue. These gatherings started after Dad's heart attack scare last year, a way to make sure we stayed connected as a family. Henry, 31M, my stepsister Rachel's, 28F husband, usually skipped these, claiming he had interviews, but this time he actually showed up. From the moment they arrived, I, 32M, could tell something was off. Rachel looked absolutely exhausted. Her nurse's uniform wrinkled like she'd just finished a shift. Henry trailed behind her, glued to his phone, barely acknowledging anyone's greetings. Throughout the afternoon, Henry parked himself in the corner of the patio, scrolling endlessly on his phone while Rachel helped Mom with the food prep and cleanup. I watched my sister move between the kitchen and the backyard, her shoulders tense, throwing anxious glances at Henry every few minutes. When she went inside to get more drinks, I followed her to check if she was okay. The moment we were alone in the kitchen, Rachel broke down. She slumped against the counter, tears streaming down her face as she told me everything. They were 3 months behind on rent. Henry had promised to find work, but she discovered he hadn't submitted a single job application in weeks. She was working double shifts at the hospital, sometimes 16 hours straight, and would come home to find dishes piled in the sink, laundry undone, and Henry passed out on the couch with his gaming headset still on. The worst part was that she'd been hiding all of this from everyone. She begged me not to tell our parents, especially Dad. She was worried the stress would affect his heart. She felt ashamed, like their failing marriage was somehow her fault. She kept saying if she could just work a few more shifts, pick up some overtime during the holidays, maybe they could catch up on their bills. Watching my strong, capable stepsister reduced to this broke something inside me. I knew a friend, Mike, who owned a successful construction company. He was always looking for reliable workers and paid well, starting at $25 an hour with full benefits after 90 days. They even provided training for people with no experience. I thought if I could just get Henry to consider it, maybe it could be a way out of this mess. I found Henry alone in the backyard, still glued to his phone. I tried to keep things casual at first, asking how the job search was going. He gave me his usual vague answers about having some promising leads and waiting to hear back from a few companies. When I mentioned Mike's company and the job opportunity, Henry's whole demeanor changed. His face twisted into this sneer I'd never seen before. He started ranting about how he wasn't going to lower himself to do manual labor like some uneducated person. Those were his exact words, like some uneducated person. The contempt in his voice made me very angry. I pointed out that honest work was better than no work at all, especially when his wife was working herself to exhaustion trying to support them both. That's when Henry completely lost it. He jumped up from his chair, getting right in my face, screaming about how I had no right to interfere in his life. He accused me of trying to humiliate him in front of the family, of always looking down on him because he hadn't gone to a fancy college like me. The fact that I attended community college and worked my way through school apparently didn't matter. Rachel came running out when she heard the shouting. I expected her to see how irrational Henry was being, but instead, she turned on me. She started screaming that I had no idea what they were going through, that Henry was trying his best, that I was just trying to make him feel worse about himself. It was like she'd completely forgotten our conversation in the kitchen just hours before. Henry stormed off to their car, and Rachel followed him in tears. The BBQ ended abruptly, with everyone standing around in shocked silence. My parents pulled me aside and laid into me about how I should have minded my own business. Did I really mess up here? Should I have kept my mouth shut and watched my sister continue to suffer in silence?